Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing? Sam here, United People's TV. Look at this. Soak it in. I've started on time. Well, actually, no, I've started an hour and 3 minutes earlier than normal. Today, we don't have 3 minutes to keep you on your toes. Today is going to be a busy old morning. So I've gone live an hour earlier to discuss. Sorry, everyone's getting in contact with me now. Go away. I've got my phone here because just in case the Mason Mount announcement is made. But what? It's going to be a busy show this morning. I'm going to run through the second bid for Onana. I'm going to run through the genuine interest coming in Sofyan Amrabat. Now, you might have seen the news and the reports that went way early out in Italy saying, oh, personal terms are being agreed. I'm going to cover the story as it's been breaking over these last 24 hours. My video today, later on today, could be a full story looking into the Amrabat reports. He's down there on a possible list. We've got a couple more names. Robert Sanchez, Brighton's goalkeeper. He's on there. Oscar Gluck as well, the 19-year-old from Leipzig. We're up to 73 on the board. It's going to be a busy show this morning, and that's why I've gone live an hour earlier than usual, so that I can be ready for when the Mason Mount announcement is made. Good morning, everybody. Who's here joining in an hour earlier? Maddie, you're watching from a nursery car park. Yes, I remember. What was it I was watching? I remember watching when Ben Stokes and then Cricket England won the World Cup. Or was it no, I think it was the World Cup. I was watching that in a Waitrose car park. Good morning to everybody. Morton, good morning to you, my friend. I've mentioned you in my boring intro. Anthony, you're there. John, we've got Michael, Kev, and I can see you there, my man. Lily, Kevin, we've got Chris, Abhinav, Neville, Charlie. Who's on Facebook? We've got Noel Deves, we've got Abdi, we've got Horan Malan Ikaki, Elvin, plenty of new faces there. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people that aren't joining in as per normal, so it might not be as busy a show. But as I said, today is Mason Mount announcement day. Yesterday, we saw the apology, but I tell you what, I'm really, really going to enjoy. Let me get the fan on. It's hot in here. One sec. Remote control. I'm going to really enjoy just soaking up the tears of Chelsea fans over this Mount situation. Because if you think about it, Mason Mount joining United is kind of like, I don't know, Marcus Rashford joining Arsenal, or Phil Foden joining Liverpool. It's that sort of thing. It is gonna piss them off, and they seem to be fuming at the video that he released yesterday, where he sort of gave his apologies. But it's almost like your abysmal football club just buys and buys and buys and buys and buys and ignores players that are in sale. Oh, you've been ever since your academy product. I saw that. Is it Cole? Who's the Brighton defender? Is it Colwell? Collywell? I think it's Levi Colwell. That's it. That's going to be another one that's probably going to slip out of their fingers because they're too busy spending a crap ton of money elsewhere. I despise Chelsea and how they run their football club, man, and how it's changed the Premier League for everybody else. And I will soak up any tears that they have. But yeah, Mason Mount is going to be announced this morning. So this might only be a quick, snappy 30-minute show today, but I'll be here as soon as the Mason Mount announcement is made. But let's dive straight into it. Let's waste absolutely no time, and let's speak about Andre Onana. Now, we know full well that the bid went in early this week at 40 million, and Manchester United now have increased that verbally to 45 million. The separate reports from Italy suggesting that is going to be put in today or tomorrow, the actual official bid. So after, let's be honest, quite a lot of non-movement from Manchester United so far this summer around all the targets and players we're linked with and players we're interested in and X, Y, Z, things are really starting to kick into gear. Things are really starting to move. Onana with the second bid. Look, Inter Milan wants 60 mil. We've spoken about the price tag of him. And you're asking whether it's pounds or euros. We're speaking purely in euros when we're talking about Onana. They want 60 million in total euros. Man United don't want to pay that. This feels like a compromise. It's always felt like a compromise. It's going to be very easy. Ray, you sent a super chat, buddy. Nice to see you there, man. Thank you very much. You're saying, let's go all out for Onana now. That's what United are doing. Now, you've seen sort of, I'll touch on it. Well, I may as well mention it now because I've stopped. But Robert Sanchez is another name that has been mentioned in the same way that Justin Balow from Feyenoord has been mentioned. And I'm sure there's other goalkeepers as well. Kevin Trapp. That's what we've kind of been linked with, like 3, 4, 5, probably 6. Jordan Pickford you could throw in there. I actually should really count at some point how many goalkeepers. David Ray is on that board. Who else is on there? Verbruggen. That's another one. There's honest. Oh, Jan Sommer. There's another one. You can't actually see the board here. I should probably do this. Who else we got down there? I'm sure there's some other ones on, but there's legitimately like 6, 7, maybe even 8 goalkeepers on that board, and you can add Robert Sanchez to that list. But United want Onana, right? United are going after Onana. Anybody who's tuning in now, I'm sorry I'm a little bit early today, but because the Mason Mount announcement is happening, I decided to go early, an hour early, because I think I might get caught out. If I wait for my usual 10 a.m. show, I think I might get caught out. So that's why I went a bit early today. But Onana, United, it's clear that we've made the decision, because we were kind of faced with a choice, right, of cheaping out on Onana and going after maybe someone like Robert Sanchez or Justin Balow or Verbruggen was the original goalkeeper that we'd be linked with. But we've gone for Onana. And I would be... Hey, look, okay, right. Famous last words. I'd be surprised if we didn't get Onana. It's clear that United are really aggressively going for him. 2 bids are in now within the space of, 72 hours. The compromise is only a 15 million euro gap. That won't be difficult to find. And it will be the same sort of thing, probably, as Manchester United found with Mason Mount. We plateaued with Mason Mount on... 1 second there. I think I've quickly got to do something. We plateaued on Mason Mount with 1 second. Too many things are going on this morning. It's been a bit crazy. Right. There you go. It's in there now. I believe. Just me uploading stuff at the same time as I'm live and stream. What could possibly go wrong? Right. That's done now. Okay. Right. Cool. Let me quickly message. There. Sorry. Right. Anyway, I've been a bit all over the place this morning. I've got two full streams prepared for the Onana for this live show and also for Mason Mount. I've also got short videos all done. Whew. Alex, I know you keep asking about the money for Lukaku, but I don't know. I've looked into that situation and no one knows. That information isn't actually publicly available. As far as I know, they still owe some money, but I don't know. I haven't looked at the amortization costs of Inter Milan and split it down and seen how much they actually owe us. I don't know. You've asked like 4 or 5 times, dude, so I have no idea. Sorry, I'm a little bit flustered this morning because there is so much going on upstairs. I think I've missed a gong. What's going on here? Yeah, man, look at that. Ray jumping in with a super chat and gifting 5 memberships. Don't know where my gong is. It's over here. Whoop. That's for the man himself. But what are you saying about Onana in the comments? Can't wait for these signings to happen. Hopefully they happen before the tour. Well, remember, we play Leeds a week today. You know how mad that is? I love United. I love watching United. But do you know how mad that is? We've got a game in a week. Right. Onana, I think we're going to get our man. We're seeing separate reports, as I said, linking us to Robert Sanchez, linking us to Justin Balow. But it feels like United have decided to bulk up the cash for. And I'll be honest, like, look, if you're looking at around about £30 million for Robert Sanchez, how much? It's not going to be that much different to what you pay for Onana. The gap will be quite small, right? Onana chance incoming. I think we can probably do. Wow, I do like Rihanna. Everyone's got a little soft spot for Rihanna. Which Rihanna do you prefer? The early Rihanna or the late Rihanna? That's the important question to ask this morning. But side note from Onana is, of course, the striker situation, which correctly is everyone's priority this morning, right? Not this morning, this summer. All over the shop in my head today. I don't disagree that the striker is our priority. However, I think in terms of when we need to complete that signing, I think it's more of an impact on us on our preseason if we sign a goalkeeper late in the window than I think it's how much it would impact us if we signed a striker late in the window. That's why I've said personally for me, the priority in terms of timing is a goalkeeper, but the priority overall this summer is a striker. Now, look, United are still in talks over Højlund and Moani. And the thing that I've compared it to is said, look, we've been linked and interested in talks and in conversations with Højlund for a long, long time. Yet we are still to put in a bid to sign him. Whereas Onana, we've now gone in with 2 bids. And that goes to show you where Ten Hag sees that priority. Ten Hag is going after his goalkeeper first. That's where he's making his move first. With the restricted budget that he's got and the concerns, he wants to make sure that he gets that goalkeeper in. A couple of super chats. Let me read these bad boys out. Red, you're saying we need the Will Griggs theme song. Andre's. Nah, we can do better than that. I don't think United have a Will Griggs version. What's your favorite United chant? What was I thinking about the other day? I like the Zlatan Ibrahimovic one. That's got to be one of the best ones we've ever had. I like Adnan Januzaj's one. He comes from Belgium. That was a cracker. What else do I like? I like Derek Bailly's one. Man, I haven't been to a United game in a while. I missed that. I miss those trips. I'm looking forward to a Euro trip and a Champions League trip this year. Sam, you're saying it's going to be hard to sell players if we go with them for the tour? Yeah, maybe. I don't know whether that really impacts things. Yap Stam's tune. Someone's down there saying Park Ji-sung's my favorite. Look, did you not see Park saying, look, I love you all, love United fans. Can you stop singing that song? He requested that United fans stop singing that song. So if you can, cut that out. Pride of All Europe says, Ant, love that one too. Solskjaer's tune. Oh man, you got me in a singing mood this morning. Man, I'm full of energy. I'm full of beans today. It's almost like we're about to sign Mason Mount. But look, let's move on to the next talking point because this is a very interesting talking point, okay? And that's Sofyan Amrabat. Now, I'm definitely going to be doing a full story on Amrabat. He was always a midfielder that I think we as United fans looked at. Like we watched the UEFA Conference Final. We watched him play. We watched them play and we were like, okay, 1 second there. Just making sure. Right. Yeah, no announcement yet. Amrabat, we watched in the conference final, and I was like, yeah, man, that guy's got it. We obviously watched him in the World Cup with Morocco. And we didn't know whether or not it was just all noise coming out of it. As I said, there were reports from Italy this week saying personal terms already agreed. United are advanced in their pursuit of Amrabat. And what I would say now, again, this is my sort of the way that I look at media. Just because now that it's emerging that he is a target, it doesn't mean they were right previously. That's one thing I would say about understanding and sort of this is what I mean about how people interpret news and how people can exaggerate things and get people overexcited way too quickly. But Amrabat clearly is emerging as a target, okay? And I would say it's as a consequence of this. I think if we're looking at, look, I love the idea of signing a Casemiro understudy because we need one. Like the drop-off between a team with Casemiro and a team without Casemiro last season was horrific, absolutely horrific. And I don't think we've got anybody currently inside this squad who can stop that from happening again next season. As it stands, with the squad that we've got, even if you add Mason Mount into it, there is nobody who could replace Casemiro. There's someone down there saying, what about Kobbie Mainoo? I mean, that's a possibility, but that's a serious responsibility to put on the shoulders of an 18-year-old. And he may well shine, but I wouldn't say that's the most encouraging environment. That's a lot of instant pressure where you don't really have room for failure or room for mistakes. But Amrabat, I think he's being lined up now because Man United are genuinely looking at McTominay. Because remember when Fabrizio did his update this week, which I covered on the 7 players that, you know, we were linked with. Maguire was on that list. Donny van der Beek was on that list. Fred was on it. Elanga was on it. McTominay wasn't on that list. I think if Manchester United this summer, and I'll go full screen this because I think it's important. If Manchester United this summer managed to sell Fred and replace him with Mount, and sell McTominay and replace him with Amrabat, you're not looking at a huge outlay there. You're looking at, say, 20 million for Fred, and we paid, what, 55 million plus 5 million in add-ons, which are not going to be achieved, by the way. A bit more information on that I'm saving for the announcement show. That means it will be, say, we've spent 55 on Mount and we get 20 million for Fred. That's 35 million we spent on him. I think Amrabat and McTominay, if those 2 transfers happened, would pretty much be level 0. Amrabat, we're seeing prices in the region of 30 million, and I've always felt that McTominay is worth that amount of money. So maybe for 35 million, we can switch Fred and McTominay for Mount and Amrabat. Now, that's a significant upgrade in terms of the exact profiles of midfielders, the technical qualities of the midfielders, the goals from Mason Mount, the deeper lying playmaker ability and press resistance of Amrabat. That will be a big, big old upgrade in the squad for a relatively small outlay. And that's what Man United, it's not always about signing that Declan Rice would have been great and Caicedo would have been great. It's not always about the huge, big money signings. Sometimes you can make smart signings. And I think that's probably where Amrabat he'd go into that category. Now, as I said, this is where the news has started to really, there's no smoke without fire is kind of what I say. And this is why I always tend to hold back. I don't jump straight on a bit of news when it's coming from one outlet. But when it starts coming from Sky Sports, them saying that Amrabat is somebody who we're looking at, it's also coming from the Mail. It's also coming from separate sources. That's when it piques my interest. Anthony, you're saying Mount is an upgrade to Eriksen. I can understand that. But I think Eriksen has a set of characteristics and assets that Mason Mount just does not. Eriksen is that playmaker. Mason Mount is, for me, the upgrade on Fred, on that high-pressing, aggressive midfielder who operates best towards the edge of the opposition's box, who links play. That's where Fred has been at his best at Manchester United. That's where Mason Mount was at his best at Chelsea. Some people, David, is saying, why so early, Sam? I've gone early today because we know full well that the Mason Mount announcement is coming this morning. And odds on it will be at 10 a.m. So I said, you know what? Let me go. I was like, let me prepare the show. There was a chance that Mason Mount was going to get announced at 9 a.m. I took the risk. So we went a little bit early. But now it means that we're clear for 10 a.m. to have a full show just about Mason Mount, which I've already got prepared. So it was a good choice to do that. And you're saying you've got serious reservations in capital letters just to make sure that I look about Amrabat. Too many times, teams have been stung by a player playing well at the World Cup. If what I watched with Amrabat in that, again, my pool of games that I'm judging Amrabat on isn't wide enough for me to make a complete and fair assessment of his ability. Just like you can't say the same thing from how good he played at the World Cup. He was really impressive in the Europa Conference final where Fiorentina were playing with a lot more of the ball than Morocco ever were in the World Cup. In the World Cup, it was like backs to the wall, defend for your lives. I think I've got lots of detail. I've already done plenty of research. Shout out, there was somebody who reached out to me on Twitter and has given me lots of old articles from his time at Utrecht, comments from Ten Hag on his style of play, comments from himself, comments from his brother. I see Amrabat as If I'm looking at the perfect summer, you know exactly who my understudy was for Casemiro. That was Romeo Lavia. I didn't realize, for the life of me, I never in a million years would have guessed that the price tag on him would have been 50 million. I think I guessed around about 25, 30 million for him. Got that completely wrong. But if it's not going to be Lavia, I think what you're looking at in Amrabat is a really good alternative. Somebody who's at a good age, good experience. Again, is he going to be the player that lights this team on fire? No. But across the season, from a squad perspective, is he going to be able to maybe in those games against Forest and Wolves and Everton and stuff like that, games where we've got a big Champions League game or a massive game at the weekend that maybe we don't want to use Casemiro 3 times in a week? That's where Amrabat comes in. So maybe Amrabat's not going to be the player, hypothetically, of course. He's not going to be the player that comes in and starts against Liverpool and stuff like that. But is that what we need him for? Or do we need him to be that squad bolstering Casemiro alternative? That's exactly what we need him to. So when you think about where he needs to slot in next season, I can see it being a smart choice. Now, Ed Aarons from The Guardian is saying, look, there's no actual formal contact with him, but United have been heavily linked and he is expected to leave Fiorentina. So this one's definitely one to watch now. I would say Amrabat, it's kind of being reported there as well by Sky Sports. Wrong one. The arrival of Amrabat would depend on sales. And we know that with our budget, man. Right? We still need a striker. We haven't got that goalkeeper, and we've just spent 55 mil on Mason Mount. And our budget was, what, 120 million without sales? That's what we've been told this entire way through. So if it's 55 on Mount, and say it's 50 on Onana, as it stands, Manchester United are going there with a 45 million euro offer. I imagine we're going to, I think we discussed this as well, we're going to be 50 to 55 million euros for Onana, maybe with some extra add-ons that are difficult to achieve, just like Mason Mounts were. That should be around about the price that we agree on Onana, and that would be, that would be an amazing signing. So yeah, the idea that we go and sign Amrabat and Onana and the striker, we need to start selling players. What are you saying down here in the comments, all right? But Tomine as a number 9 who says no, absolutely everybody. Absolutely everybody. Alex, you say, look, we may still need a double pivot in certain games, especially away from home. It's a fair point. I can't imagine that he'll be coming in and starting like 40 games for Manchester United. Hypothetically, if we sign him, I don't see him starting 40 games. But I could see him being a very, very good squad addition. And we need those different types of signings. Mason Mount is a starting 11 player. Mason Mount, if he's fit, is going to be starting the majority of Manchester United's Premier League games next season. Onana, starting 11 player. Will start every game in the Premier League as long as he is fit. Amrabat might start half of them. Might start a little bit less than half of them. If we sign a new striker, they'll be starting it. It's different types of signings. Right? Let's have a little thing what you're saying there. Amrabat, Mount, Casemiro, and Bruno. It's a strong midfield. That's a little bit too defensive, I think. Or is it? We're not going to have 4 in midfield. We're going to play 3 in midfield next season anyway. Caicedo over Amrabat, says Anthony. Well, let's be honest. You're not going to get anybody disagreeing with you on that. But we can't afford Caicedo. Rajiv, you're saying, Sam, believe me, Amrabat will be starting. Well, he's not going to get in ahead of Casemiro. I mean, maybe you'll see Casemiro, Amrabat, and Bruno. But really, don't think Mason Mount's going to start? Honestly, I think we're starting with 2 number 8s next season. I still haven't done that video yet because I thought it would kind of be a bit weird of me to talk about the tactical switches I think that Ten Hag is doing next season before we actually see anything in pre-season. I think pre-season will be a bit of an inkling towards that. I imagine you'll see Man United operating with 1 number 6 and 2 number 8s. You'll see a slightly different structure in the midfield setup. It might only be subtle, but it will massively impact our ability to press from the front. That's where I think you're going to see a big difference in Man United's ability to win the ball back high up the pitch. Amrabat would do a lot more than Sabitzer, says Bob. Hello, man. I feel sorry for Sabitzer. Seemed like a decent lad, seemed like a decent player, but injuries just ruined his chances straight away. We need a striker and a goalkeeper. We need both of those. 1-6 and 2 number 8s, says Raul. That's what I think we're going to be seeing. The Unlimited one with a really strange comment saying English bias this morning. I don't know whether you're talking to me or not, but I have no idea what that comment's about. What I'll say quickly, I know it's been a bit of a manic show. It feels like I've been a bit manic. Calm down a little bit now. If you can, just please drop a like on it. I'm here an hour earlier than normal because this announcement is coming. We've managed to miss it so far, but maybe United will be announcing it in 4 minutes' time. I imagine it'll be at 9:30 or 10:30. Dan McGann saying sale day today. I mean, that's all I can do. That's all I can say about the sale anymore. Like, I don't know. It's because it's past any point of logic. It's past any point of logical reason why this sale wouldn't have gone through. And you are just down to a Glazers civil war going on behind the scenes. And it's just, man, to the very, very bitter end, they are dragging our club under. Not one penny have they ever invested of their own money in our football club. Over 1 billion has left our club on servicing the debt that they leveraged onto the club. We should already have a new stadium. We should already have a new Carrington, all paid for by our own revenues. Instead, they've taken those revenues to pay their loan back, which they've never actually paid back. Fuck, I hate them. I hate them. I can't wait for them to go. And maybe they're not going to go completely. Depends if whether the Ratcliffe bid is successful or not. The two options we've got are either they're completely gone with the Jassim 100% bid, or they're not in a position of power or control, and they have no influence over any decision or no influence over our bank accounts anymore. Both of those are a good situation. One is a better situation, but both of them are better than the situation that we are currently in. Jeff, you're saying bored of the takeover charade. No reason for them to delay any further. It's all just down to the indecision. 4 of them want to sell, and 2 of them, Joel and Avram, they want to go for the Ineos bid, which of course has legal ramifications. And you need unity. You need a unanimous vote. I don't know what the structure of it behind the scenes is, but I'm pretty sure it's like a unanimous thing. It can't just be 4 of us want it and 2 of us don't. That's a majority. Otherwise it would have been done already. I'm pretty sure it has to be unanimous. But look, goalkeepers are the top of the conversation at Manchester United right now. Dean Henderson saying, look, he wants to play first team football. United will hold talks with him over plans of whether he wants to stay or leave, although a sale is unlikely before there is a clear plan for the season. And I'll be totally honest, man. Like, do we have a clear plan with any goalkeeper? I don't know what's going on with Tom Heaton. As far as we know, Tom Heaton is staying. I think he's going to be staying as our second choice goalkeeper. Not sure. But again, I can't absolutely guarantee and confirm that. Dean Henderson, as far as we know, is going to be leaving the football club. But we don't particularly know that. Don't 100% know that's the case. I think he is. It should be the case. He should be going to Forest. And by the way, you see City, and who are they selling? City are selling another goalkeeper who's hardly or maybe never played a minute in the Premier League for the best part of 20 million. And you're trying to tell me that Dean Henderson's not worth 30. Dean Henderson is easily worth 30 million pounds. And I hope United get that money. I'm not very optimistic. Let's be totally honest. We are naff with the prices that we get for players, but Dean Henderson should be 30 million. Right. There is a chat from Paul. How you doing, buddy? Thank you very much for super chat. Ten Hag only has one team for all the games at the moment. Ten Hag going after people that give him different options for different games without the quality dropping. It's a very good comment there, Paul. It's something I do agree with. Man United were a good 11 last year, but remember how run into the ground we were? The lack of rotation. Yeah, sure, Ten Hag could have rotated, but the options he's looking at on the bench, he's like, well, I don't trust those. So look, I'll stick with my starting 11. Once he's built that trust up inside his squad, he can drop players in and out, knowing that the game and the team won't drop off. That is what we need. And that's where I can understand the logic of Amrabat, a player who, of course, made his breakthrough at Utrecht under Erik Ten Hag. But look, we're there talking about Dean Henderson, and we don't know the plans of Dean Henderson. Look, here you go. David De Gea, we're hearing reports from Turkey now. Is that Turkey? I think it's Turkey. Saying that Fenerbahce are set to have a meeting with David De Gea's agent. Again, I've got David De Gea down there right now. And the fact that he's left, because he's left on a free. But we don't know whether David De Gea is going to be signing a new contract. De Gea got married at the weekend. I presume he's off for a few days now, at least, for a honeymoon. And I imagine next week, the De Gea situation might become more clear. But there is still a chance that David De Gea signs a new contract and ends up staying. I personally don't think that's going to happen. I really, really would be surprised if that was the outcome of this whole De Gea situation. After everything that's happened, if we were to sign this man and then De Gea stayed, I would be staggered. Let me see what you're saying about De Gea in the comments now. What is your opinion of the situation now that his contract's expired? What do you think is going to be happening now? Simon, you say, look, I'd be happy to have De Gea as our second goalkeeper. De Gea over Henderson all day long, says Ezzy. What else are you saying down here? Asamoah is saying De Gea's leaving. That's a shame. No one's saying De Gea's leaving, but De Gea's agent has to do his job now. He's a free agent. He's got to go out there and see what is available. I mean, I imagine he's already done that job before his contract expired. Otherwise, he's a really crap agent. Right, nothing else coming out there. Heaton was going to Luton, says Brian, but he was blocked. That's a very good point there. So we do know a little bit about what Heaton's plans are for this season, what Man United's plans are for Heaton. Kenny saying if De Gea stays, then we have no ruthlessness and never will. Alex saying Henderson needs to go. We don't need his ego. Ian saying if he's out, then we get the best available in. Oyugi, you're saying it'll be a big surprise if he stays. And Stefan, you're saying he should leave. It's yeah, I would be staggered if he stays. Even more so if we sign a top draw goalkeeper. If we were to sign, look, I would actually put Robert Sanchez in that top draw goalkeeper category as well. Now, the only reason that he's not Brighton's number one anymore is because he fell out with De Zerbi. And that's where, was it Steele came in? And they've now just signed Verbruggen, who's a similar profile of goalkeeper. I'm pretty sure that Sanchez just fell out, which is annoying because I had him on my fantasy team and I forgot. I was like, why am I not getting any points for my goalkeeper? I was like, damn. Forgot that he got dropped to the bench. But Sanchez, I would probably put as, again, a first choice goalkeeper. I just don't see how David De Gea comes back and signs a new contract now, man. Hope he comes back for a test. Could he do that? Could he leave? I suppose he could. I don't know when it would happen. Maybe in the summer. Has that ever happened before? But that's a really tough pub quiz question. Have there been any United players who have left and then come back for a testimonial at a later date? Is that Cantona one? What was the one that Cantona scored in? I can't remember. I'm sure maybe it's happened before. I don't know. A super chat there from someone. Heige, how you doing, buddy? Would you prefer, thank you very much, super chat. Would you prefer Amrabat or Casemiro tackling machine, but not as, would you prefer Amrabat who's about ball possession or Casemiro tackling machine, but not as good in possession? I think I want someone who, we need better ball handlers under pressure, just across our entire team, really, but especially in midfield. Our midfielders, for a lot of the time, have always played hot potato with the ball. Casemiro, I think, if you were to specialize his role next year, and that's why I think that formation makes even more sense. You specialize Casemiro in that number 6 role, and then you could technically play Amrabat alongside him if you need to. There'll just be certain games, as I think it was Paul who left a comment earlier, there'll be certain games and certain situations where Amrabat would suit it more. And that's when he comes in. And there's certain games where Casemiro suited it more. And then he'll come in. It's about squad. It's about options. And if you're back in the Champions League, you need those options. Keane came back when he was a testimony with Celtic. There you go. There's one. Yeah, I'm sure it's happened before. De Gea absolutely deserves a testimonial, and I really hope he gets one. And look, another Turkish link. Ilanga and Alex Telles. Galatasaray are apparently going to be sniffing around. Please, man. I've maintained that that's my biggest concern this summer is our lack of exits. All the players that we've got on our books that we know have decent sale on. Like Anthony Ilanga, he's going to go on and have a decent career in football for the next 10 years, dotting around and going different teams. Just not at Manchester United. There's a good sale value in Anthony Ilanga. Alex Telles, somewhere between 2 and 10 million, probably towards the lower end. It's good to hear some interest finally in those players. Now, let me see if anything else has been said here that I've just missed out. There we go. Look, we've got Fabrizio Romano tweeting 1 minute ago on Andre Onana. So this is why we're live and direct. You can bring this. This has come out quite literally 1 minute ago. All right. Let's see what he's saying. All right. Let's bring this up here. This is what Fabrizio Romano is saying on Onana. Manchester, let me go full screen. Manchester United have presented in the morning their verbal proposal for Andre Onana, £39 million total package, add-ons included. The bid will be official soon. Inter expect €60 million fee for Onana, add-ons included. No agreement at this stage. And let me quickly do a bit of what is 39 mil in 39 in euros. That's 45 million. There you go. So that is Fabrizio Romano confirming that Manchester United's bid will be 45 million euros. Everyone there was saying, oh, hold up. Fabrizio's not tweeted about it. Bingo bango. 45 million, which is exactly what we covered earlier in the show. 45 million. Balls, where did I put that? Too many tabs, many tabs. So we're 15 million short, right? 15 million euros short is not much. Cut that down the middle, 7.5 million. If Manchester United were to pay 52.5 million euros, add-ons included, that's right down the middle of what they want. That's right down the middle of our opening bid. That's an easy compromise to have. That's so much better than the Mason Mount situation where our opening bid was 40 and they were asking for 80. The fact, and this is probably quite an important point as well. He wants the move to happen. Of course he does. He'd love to work with Ten Hag again. Now, I've not done an in-depth deep dive on his relationship with Ten Hag just yet, but I've done a bit of research myself, and it wasn't that they fell out. He left as a free transfer, but they actually had a decent relationship. Kieran asking the question that everybody seems to be asking about: are we not owed money from Inter? If anybody wants to deep dive into the last 6 years of accounts and see what Inter Milan have paid us and what they haven't paid us, well, then be my guest, because I'm not. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that they owe us a little bit of money from Lukaku over player amortization, but I've got no idea. Anthony, Fabrizio saw you live and mentioned the offer. It doesn't. Hey, look, I like Fabrizio Romano. Everybody does what they do. What do you think? All right, and Alex, you put it down there. What do you think is the final bid for Onana that gets us our man? What do you think is the price that Inter Milan agree on? So bear in mind, right now, as it stands, we bid 45 million euros and they want 60 million. Where do you think that is? kind of logic tells you halfway in between that is 52.5 million. But maybe United will go 50 million plus 5 million in slightly achievable add-ons. Maybe we'll go 50 million with 5 million euros in really difficult add-ons, like if Onana wins the Champions League or if Man United win the Premier League. And we see what you're saying. 45 million plus 10. Alex, you're saying 50 million plus 5. 50 million max. 55 million will be good. 55, 50. And you're saying, I don't see them accepting anything less than 55, including add-ons. Well, that'll be right close to what their original. And maybe that is the case. So it'll be 50. In my opinion, I think you'll see United agree a deal for 50 million euros plus 5 million in, as I said, those add-ons that, oh yeah, if we win the Champions League, if we win the Premier League, I think that is when it will happen. Jordan, you're joining in late. You're saying, I'm early today. I am early today because, as I said, I went early as we know the Mason Mount announcement is coming. I've got a whole live show prepped and lined up for that. I didn't want that to go to waste. So I jumped in a little bit early to cover all the Onana news, the Amrabat news, and we've just had a little debate because Fabrizio Romano has literally just said, look, United have put a bid in for 45 million. Honestly, everybody, can you stop saying I'm early in the comments? I must have had it about 50 times. I said it at the start of the show. Please watch the start of the show. I think I might wrap this up today, actually. Give me a little bit of breathing space before we head into the Mason Mount announcement. I was early today. If nobody recognized, I don't know if Inter Milan owe us money for the 400 people that asked me. Man, you'll try and wind me up. Sometimes I love how interactive this show is, but sometimes you have me on strings. Today was one of those days. Look, drop a like on the video if you can. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on this ridiculously early show. I know it's early. I actually started on time, too. Not only was I early, but I started on time early. Look, I'll be back here probably quite soon, I think. Hopefully at 10 o'clock if United announce Mason Mount. So make sure you tune in then. Onana, 45 million euro bid is in. Inter wants 60. I reckon we can get it 50 million plus 5 in difficult add-ons. That feels like a good compromise. Let's find out when that changes. But big up to everybody for tuning in. I'll be back here probably very, very soon on Mason Mount and that announcement. And when it happens, we've got a busy day lined up. Make sure you subscribe.